Okay, Matt, before we get started, I want to clarify a couple things.
Please.
Okay, I want to clarify that in our pilot episode, I talked about finding people that weren't right for me, and maybe not right for the long game is the truth, but they were absolutely right for where I was. And I had a great time. I learned so much about myself and our gay community. So I just wanted to clarify that I didn't poo-poo something that was actually very meaningful in my life. I was with someone. I landed in the gay community in a beautiful way. And these relationships that all of us have had along the way don't need to be demonized. Do you know what I'm saying? So many times when people break up, it's like they're a narcissist, or I don't want to do that.
Sure. Sometimes they're stepping stones.
Yes. And they may not have been like forever relationships, but if we're doing our part, we learn and we grow from them. And just as equally, we haven't been right for people that we dated for a myriad of reasons.
For real. Yeah. People say that people come into your life for a reason, for a season, or a lifetime. Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe there were two of the three.
Okay. And then two more little things. One is I want to remind people that as we start this, that we're about bitchy wisdom. We're gay and we can take it. And sometimes the truth feels bitchy, right?
Yes.
But our goal is not nice. That's not our goal. People are going to discover that we are pretty nice boys. We are.
For sure.
But we are doling out bitchy wisdom for the gay man looking for love. So we're just going to have some fun with that. So don't get butthurt. Okay.
What you're trying to say is that it is in love, and it's meant to be constructive and life-giving. It's meant to move us all forward. Absolutely.
Yes, and fun. And we're not taking ourselves too seriously on here.
Yeah.
We already told you we don't have all the answers. These are our opinions, things that we've discovered and we've tested out there on the road. And so that's what we're doing. Okay.
Absolutely.
Last thing. And I felt like that this was important to say, because I want to make sure people are clear about this, that we're talking about gay cis men looking for other men. But we're undoubtedly a part of the LGBTQ plus community as a whole, and proud to be here. And we're one part of that equation. And we're grateful to be a voice, right? Under a much larger and more beautiful umbrella.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well said.
What we're offering is relationship advice that's inclusive of any dating relationship, regardless if you're a white woman or a Black trans man. We're all in this thing together.
For sure.
Now let's show our asses. Welcome to the How to Find and Keep a Gay Man podcast. I'm Matt Bays, your host, with Matt Heinker, your co-host. And we're here to provide bitchy wisdom for the gay man looking for love. There are a lot of gay men out there looking for a meaningful love experience, and we are here to help. You can follow How to Find and Keep a Gay Man on Instagram and TikTok, where you'll find all sorts of bitchy wisdom about what it's going to take to find and keep a gay man. Welcome. We're glad you're here.
Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. Loving your pride tank.
Yes. This is my version of a thirst trap in January. We're conservative over here.
I tell you what, I have many a tank top. I love a tank top.
Yes, it's part of the welcome packet.
Part of the welcome package. Sun's out, guns out.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So what are we talking about today, man? Really fun topic.
We're talking about soulmates.
Twin flames.
But before we get to soulmates, I want to talk about that thing that you said last week and ask you a couple things about it. You made a comment about gay couples having an advantage. I'd never heard that before, and I loved it. So take a second to explain that, because I did some digging this past week, and I want to talk about that.
Did you? Okay. So I am a business person, but for many, many years, I've had a side hustle as a residential interior designer. So this is where I kind of get this theory from. And I have worked with many a straight couple. And I tell you what, I hate to be, overly negative or whatever, but most of them have a rough time connecting. I've done so many, I can't even tell you how many times I've done a house with two dens, a his and her den, or there's a she shed. because they need separate TV areas because they don't want to watch the same stuff. And they fight over just silly things, and they're not on the same page about a lot of things. And so I see how wildly different men and women are, up close and personal when you're in their homes working with them. And so I'm struck when I'm in those situations, or when I have been, when I come home, and not that things are always easy, relationships are relationships, but in general, I think about Ty and I, we have so much in common. We like to do the same things. When we travel, we like to spend our time doing the same things. We watch the same shows for the most part. There's just so much in common. And I just feel like conflict's inevitable in a relationship, but it's way easier with a man. You understand each other way better than you ever are going to a woman, or vice versa.
Yeah. So to put a little validation, a stamp of approval on that, I just started looking up. It was like, actually, I just Googled gay relationships. And the first article that came up by the Gottmans, Gottman, I think they're people that study relationships. They're UC Berkeley people, so they're legit. And they actually say heterosexual couples have a lot to learn from gay couples.
Wow.
Gay and lesbian couples. Because gay and lesbian couples, from what they say, is when they fight more fairly, that they are less belligerent, less manipulative, and that they don't get as butthurt as easy, take things as personally from their partner if they're jibing them or joking just in life, and that they're quicker to forgive and move on.
Interesting.
Yeah. Huh. Not to mention this, I don't know if I told you this or not, that in sex with gay and lesbian couples. Now, this is a study from the 70s, American researchers that did this study of couples, and said that gay and lesbian couples were the only couples that got genuine, authentically excited at their spouse's sexual excitement or their partner's sexual excitement.
I can see that. Yeah.
That straight couples tend to be more about just achieving their own orgasm.
Wow. Yeah.
But the gay couples are. So I just want to say, I would like to accept this award from the Academy on behalf of all gay couples. Good for us.
Good for us.
What we did.
I will literally add just one thing to that because it's so funny. It struck me when you were saying the sex thing. So Ty and I have a lot of gay friends, but also this random group of dudes that is half gay, half straight. We're called the Butterfly Boys. How cute is that? We have dinner once a month. And when we go out to dinner, half the time inevitably spent is us listening to our straight friends bitch about how horrible their sex life is. How they have to beg their wives to or get the stars have to align for them to be in the mood. And it's a whole thing in there. It's a really frustrating, tough, puzzling part of their relationship. Yeah. And we're like, switch teams and you go to the buffet, have all you want, honey. And I'm just struck. We always walk away and I'm like, being gay ain't for sissies. That's not easy, but thank God we're gay. I wouldn't want to trade with them on a heartbeat. They have a hard time. They have it harder than we do. They just do. So,
yeah. And our default answer is, what are you doing right now? Nothing. I'm ready.
Nothing.
What's happening? Where do you want me to go? What do you want me to take off? I'm good.
Oh, man. It's so true.
You call it the buffet.
Yeah. We said. Switch teams, you have all you want, honey. But anyway, God bless.
That probably won't work either. I wonder if there are people out there. Has to be some people that are like, I'm not really gay, but I think I'm going to do this because it'd just be easier.
Yeah, I mean, that's an extreme response, but I can understand the logic attached to that.
I really loved that idea that there's an advantage because we go through enough shit just in our lives with coming out to family members. I mean, you feel like you're coming out for the rest of your fucking life.
You really are.
To employers and the lady at Kroger, and then your communities. You're dealing with bullshit when you're walking around and people staring, and
I do know. Yeah.
So this is a good thing. I just never heard it said before, and it's one of those things that I won't forget. You have an advantage. It's let's remember the good stuff.
So that should encourage our listeners as they are trying to find a gay man and keep him. We have an advantage. It's easier to connect. You have a lot in common. Start from that place. It's a place of power.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Thank you. All right. So we're going to move into this next section of talking about soulmates, because, when I first mentioned this to you, you were like, it's
a big topic.
It is. It is a big topic, but it felt like, as we discussed it a little bit more, like it was a good thing to establish right from the get.
Sure.
There's so much involved in a soulmate, and we've heard so much about it. You told me that there was an article that talked about 2/3 of people, more people believe in the idea of a soulmate than believe in God. Is that right?
2/3 of Americans say they believe in a soulmate. That is exponentially higher than a number of Americans that say they solidly believe in God, which is interesting. So, and in the midst of that, the marriage rates have gone way down the last 10 years, and young people are spending way more time on social media than actually dating. They're statistically having way less sex than our generations were. So, there's all that stuff that kind of...
Younger generations are having less sex than...
They're up on the social medias all the time, and they're doing everything but. So they're having quite a bit less statistically. So, that just kind of shows how maybe dysfunctional we are relationally as a culture, yet we collectively still believe in a soulmate, something that is still really important to the majority of people.
So we're going off the idea then. I mean, there could be people listening that are like, that's stupid, or I don't believe in soulmates, whatever. But we're going off the idea that 2/3 of them actually do still believe in that.
Those are Americans, but yeah.
But what a soulmate is part of what we're going to discuss.
Exactly.
You want to hit that first?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's funny that we say that, most people still really report that they believe in soulmates and still value that. I would say that I value that concept as well. But I am a very practical person by nature. And for me, the idea of a soulmate is a little bit woo-woo. I don't know if I completely believe in that, just because, as we've talked, you can connect with someone and be a really good pair. And if they got hit by a car tomorrow, that doesn't mean that you wouldn't have that again with someone else in the future. I really think that your soulmate is a combination of a really good pairing and a decision. So Ty and I are very, very deeply compatible. So we talked about non-negotiables last week. My 6 non-negotiables are solidly there. But a step beyond that, we're a good pair because we have so much in common, so many common interests. We have the same values. I'm not even talking about religious things, just like what we value in life, what we want to do with our time, our goals for the future. So we're a really good pair. And so at that point, I say, I feel love for this person. I recognize that he's a great match for me, and I choose him. So he's my soulmate because I've chosen him. So it is part emotional, but it's also part a decision. It's been my experience with kind of what I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I can appreciate that. I'm a feeler, I'm an emotional guy. And I love the idea of a good romantic comedy where there are 2 soulmates that, Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks, and they're going to somehow find each other and the planets are going to align. It's just going to all happen. That's a beautiful thing. And there's always some truth to those things that we value in pop culture, that we see that stuff in the movies, because it does sort of punctuate something that we actually believe in and are drawn to, and here's what I can tell you for me. I believe that there is not just one soulmate. I really believe that we choose to be soulmates. We decide, what goes into that decision process in order for the relationship to have legs and be a forever relationship, so that you part, is, like you said, shared values. But I believe it's a choice, and that most of that comes from the love that I carry around inside me.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
You say your love is portable. I love when you say that, because I think that's beautiful. Yeah.
Love is portable. Mm-hmm. So when a relationship ends, we think I'll never have a love like that again, but that is not true. With the capacity of the love that I carry, what my capacity is to love another person, I take that and I can apply that to whatever relationship that I choose.
For sure.
And for some,
Absolutely.
a soulmate is a best friend. It may not be romantic. It may be a best friendship of somebody who gets you and always has, and you keep
Yeah.
coming back to them.
Absolutely. I think people value different things in choosing their soulmate. I think that's a big part of it, and I say I'm practical and it's part decision. And with that, in the same breath, I also acknowledge that in my situation, here I am in Indianapolis, which is not a huge gay mecca, let's be honest. And I meet this beautiful man who's about my age with the exact same story. We're deeply compatible. If he got hit by a bus tomorrow, I would have a really hard time finding anybody I had a connection with as close to as I do him. Especially if I were to still be living here. So there is a huge part of me that thinks that's a bit cosmic or ordained or what predetermined.
I know.
And we couldn't have been together a minute before we were, because our lives were in completely different directions for decades. And so at this time, at this really specific time, when we were both able to connect, we did. And so that's not lost on me. And I think that's really beautiful. I hold on to that, but it still had to be a decision.
Yeah, it's a choice. Mm-hmm. You could have chosen no, because initially you did say, your idea was a thick German boy.
Yeah, with no kids.
What you were drawn to.
Exactly.
With no kids.
Yes.
Yeah. So for me, there's that idea of, if I'm going to choose to love this person, let me think about this. I think that we realize it's a decision, it's a choice that we make, but I think it should also feel like something sent down from heaven.
Yeah, I think the really delicate pairing of both of those things, I think you need to have a little bit of both in the mix.
Yeah. And the truth is, a soulmate is going to end up not feeling like a soulmate. They may once at first, but they may end up not feeling like a soulmate if we don't put our back into the relationship.
So true. Yeah.
So you might have something beautiful and amazing. We've known a lot of people that do, but it's important that we take care of the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So interestingly enough, I talked to this couple at a wedding reception. They seemed so happy, heterosexual couple, super, super sweet. And they were just having a good time. And I said, "What's the secret? You guys seem like you're in love. You're really in love." And they're like, "Oh God, we're so in love." And they were 60.
Okay.
And I just assumed they'd been married forever. No, they'd been married for 8 years, I think. Her husband had passed away. His ex-wife left him.
Wow. Okay.
And so you immediately think, oh, she must not be a nice lady, this lady that left him or whatever. No, because of the way he's treating this woman. And I said, what's the secret to having this kind of relationship? And he spoke first. She listened to him, looked at him and smiled, like all the feels. I could see it. She loves this man. Mm-hmm. And he said, it's real simple. You have to be a good person to be married to.
Love that.
Yep. And then he said, in my first marriage, I wasn't a good person to be married to.
Wow.
I know. Like, talk about self-awareness.
Somebody done his work.
Yep.
All right.
And so he said, every day I wake up, every day, and I think, today I am going to be a good person to be married to for her. Yeah. And she's like, he's so good to me. And I just think there's something about second relationships where you get a chance to redo.
Yeah.
Not sweat the small stuff.
You mean second marriages is what maybe, is that what you meant?
Second marriages or second partnerships. Yeah. Something that has a
lot of weight to it. Yeah.
That you get a chance to not be pissed that they forget their keys or lose their phone or.
Yeah. I think that concept really resonates with you and I specifically, because I feel like we have this, we come out, we leave these heterosexual marriages and we have this second chance to do it better, do it differently. And so I think that we have the benefit. And I think that's one reason why we're really passionate about this podcast. We don't take for granted our partners, what a gift they are, and who do we have to be to show up for them and preserve this beautiful thing that we found, Yeah. And so that kind of leads us to what we kind of also wanted to address is the where you have to be mentally, spiritually, emotionally psychologically to really be ready to receive this soulmate, to receive a good candidate for a soulmate when you see him coming, you know?
Yeah.
Again, we spoke at the first episode, how our community is filled with people that are jaded, people that are stuck and single for years at a time, whatever. I've got a really good friend I was talking to last night who's perpetually single, and he just went on a date with a guy that he really liked. And I was talking to him about it, and I was like, well, you going to go out with him again? And he's like, yeah, I'm sure we will. It was really fun. And I was like, well, are you going to call him? He goes, yeah, I'll probably call him sometime this weekend. And their date was Monday. It was days ago. And so like, there's something there. He gets in his own way, sabotaging this from moving forward or for showing legitimate interest to this other guy because he's just not mentally in a place where he's ready for whatever reason to even pursue what this could be. And I see variations of that in different ways, but where do you have to be able to see him coming and not only receive it, but give back? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes. I don't think I had a problem with giving back. So when you're on the apps, meeting people or whatever, which is, I'm a big advocate of the apps. They're shitty as all get out, but they're also a great way to meet people,
Yeah.
And how people just leave people hanging. Like it's a match, but then they don't talk to you ever. So it's like, oh, I've got 14 guys here that I've initiated conversation with 3 times. We've matched.
Yeah. And that's
they have nothing to say.
That's an example of this guy on the other end. So many boys are so flaky about the process or they ghost for whatever reason. I've had more than one date where the guy just didn't show up and forgot,
Yeah.
And so that's why maybe we say, what apps do you not have on your phone? I don't think your soulmate's on Grindr. He's probably not on Scruff. Do we want to go to apps that are relationship focused? What do you think?
I always say Grindr done got you good and ground. Now it's time to move on to something else if you're looking for a man. But this was a problem. You mentioned the word self-sabotage, and I've never really thought of myself as that. But I had never been in a relationship where someone loved me the way that I loved them. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So I get together with Chris and I can't outdo him. Like he's just so supportive, so encouraging, so there, so consistent. My God.
Yeah.
And not more so than I was to him, but it was a different level than I was used to.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, I spent 5 or 6 sessions in therapy talking to my therapist about, I don't think I'm worthy of this. I don't feel like I'm worthy of this. And like in your brain, you feel like you're going to just start effing things up.
Yeah.
I was worried about that. So I thought, how do I figure out how to be okay with this? And my therapist kept saying, oh my God, Matt, you are so worthy of this. You're so worthy of it. And I've had friends, you've told me this. My friend Beth has told me this. They're like, honey, you love people so well and you're so good to them. And now it's coming back to you. That's the way it should be. You haven't had that, so you're not used to it. But that was a hurdle for me that I was actually shocked by.
Well, Mama Ruth says, if you can't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love somebody else? And so it really comes back to you loving yourself enough to feel like you can receive that you deserve it, that I think that's a huge hurdle for a lot of people in our community,
Well, I have not struck up that balance of when I hear that, I know that there are people that take that mantra and how they apply it to themselves is sort of like, bitch, I'm worthy,
Yeah.
Okay. But if I believe that, I want it to be an authentic thing. I don't want it to be some way I'm affecting my personality to seem that I'm like, look at me, I've got it all. I deserve this. I've earned it. I just can't be, I don't have this worked out.
Yeah, that's honest.
I don't. And what I really don't like is hearing that if you don't love yourself, because I think there's something there, I think I'm worthwhile. I think I've got a lot to offer, but there's something there that I have not been able to put my finger on yet of why I don't feel worthy of that kind of love, because I do believe at a cellular level that Chris is my soulmate, but
you're still working on believing deeply within to your gut that you do deserve it and you are worthy of it. And I think that's really honest and beautiful. And I think that many, many people can relate to that.
I don't love it. I don't love it. I've done too much work to not be there and to know my own worth, and I thought that I did, but I was in relationship after relationship where I was up here pulling people up. Yep. I never had somebody who was meeting me eye to eye, and giving as much and as equipped, and somebody who didn't need me. This was somebody who wanted me, and that's different.
It's way different. It's beautiful though. I think it's funny. I hear what you're saying there. I think I had a very different experience when I started dating. I think for me first of all, going out on a date with a man felt so liberating. Or being romantic with a man felt so liberating. That was beautiful. And it felt correct. I felt way more myself. I just felt like so much. I felt at peace in my mind and my body for the first time in my life. Yeah. But I was conscious, and I had some really nice, before I met Ty, I had dated some really nice guys. But what I was shocked by is that while it felt really good to finally be gay and to finally be with a man and live authentically, as nice as any of those boys were, and I'd even put Ty in this category, even though I love him to death and we're getting married, they're not going to complete me, or they're not going to heal the broken parts of me. I read this quote by Oprah that said, if you feel incomplete, you alone must fill all your empty, shattered places with love. And I thought to myself, for me to feel whole, it really has to be a process that I really seek out and work on myself. It's not going to, healing and validation and completion is not going to come in this great relationship. It's going to enhance my life. It's going to be something that adds beauty to it and something that is going to enrich it. But I have to be fully whole myself. And I think that as gay men over 30 who've been through some shit, it's really, really hard to get to the place where you're fully whole and at peace within yourself, because the work to get there is significant and it takes years and it's never done. I think I'm still in a process, and probably will be for the rest of my life, where I am learning to be more deeply myself, more authentically myself, fully whole myself and loving myself. And I think that's something that we all need to be really aware of and gentle with ourselves as we go along that path. But you have to go along the path.
Yeah. I don't like that, because I'm not. I don't have this figured out. Maybe I should, but I don't. And I just don't. But I'm going to keep working at it. I mean, I've done as much therapy as a person can do. And I'm just going to keep working. It may be a lifelong struggle for me, where I don't ever fully feel okay. But here's the thing that I do well. I love people well.
You do.
I know that about myself. Chris is out there just before we started, and he's at his computer, and I see that it's dim, and I just went downstairs. I didn't have to. I just went downstairs and got his glasses, because I know he's going to see better, and I don't want my baby staring at that computer screen without his glasses. You know what I mean? Those are the kind of little things that I think that we do, that we tend to the relationship. It's not, well, you sent me an article as we were preparing for this that talked about, it's not in the big gifts and the trips and all of those things are great and they add something, but it's in the daily small things where we care and we tend that relationship.
Sure.
And we do it when we don't want to. Sometimes we just do it.
And that's in the keeping the gay man, is the daily tending to your garden, honey. That's true. And that's what preserves the beauty of your soulmate relationship, because you feel connected when you continue to do those things.
Yeah. I
love that. What are some signs that you found your soulmate?
You tell me.
I've done a little bit of research on this. They make you want to do things you've never done before. What would you say about that? True? Like move to Cincinnati.
Yes, that's exactly what was just going through my mind, because I was like, so my whole life in the last 2 years has completely changed, and it's been hard because friendships are important to me, and I lost all my friends and all the things. But yes, it will make you do things.
He's very intense about landscaping. And I didn't know anything about that or know what plants were. And my ass is landscaping every spring now. We get into it. We go buy stuff. Never dreamed I'd enjoy it, but it's really fun with him. Kind of cool that we share that together. Number 2, I thought was great. Girls, listen to this. You don't have to play games with them. Hello.
Listen, I'll tell you what I say. If you don't like him now, you won't like him then. Mm-mm. And if he drives you crazy now, he will always drive you crazy.
Preach now.
I got boys there's a couple sites that I follow on social media, and I'm seeing boys talk about somebody that they're just beginning to date. Mm-hmm. And they're saying, he won't return a text. He won't. And I'm like, honey,
girl, run.
You'll be chasing him forever. If he's driving you crazy now, he's always going to drive you crazy. So no.
I think a good pairing, you're on the same page. You're going to communicate. We're not those games. No. Quit playing games with my heart. Okay.
Quit playing games with my heart.
Baby.
Is that Backstreet?
Oh, yes. Vintage, honey. That was my day. Okay. I love this one. You know, Carrie Bradshaw, Sex and the City, your SSB, your secret single behavior. They've experienced your secret single behavior and haven't run for the hills. The things you would never do in front of anyone else because you'd be too embarrassed.
Your toenails?
Maybe you clip your toenails, or Ty's psychotic about I'm a clean person. You come over here, my house is clean Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But that boy, every nook and cranny of every drawer has to be organized, has to have a compartment, or he is not well. Or I talk to myself constantly. And I usually, when you're first dating and you're showing someone the representative of yourself, that stuff's, there's a lid on some of those things. They sweep your crazy under the rug. And then when you get to know him more, he sees that I talk to myself all the time, or I'm really emotional, or I'm kind of intense sometimes, or whatever. It doesn't scare him.
Now, see, strangely enough for me, if somebody couldn't get past my little shit and the little picadillos like that, I'd be like, bye.
Well, exactly. That's why,
because I'm real interested in being who I am in my house. And I can be a lot.
Yeah.
I know I can be a lot because I love to fool around and all the time.
Yes.
And never really got to before in the way that I'm able to now. And I love that.
And he's here for it. And that's one of the many things that make it work.
He is here for it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I have to be like, Matt, he's reading that email. Leave him alone. Leave him alone right now. He's not up for your antics.
That kind of leads into number 5. It says your relationship has playful quirks that others may not understand. I would agree with that.
Yeah. Well, I remember Chris talking about, he said, when we got together, I felt like I was with one of my best friends from college.
Yeah.
Where you're just, there's no secrets. You don't have to behave in a certain way. You're just having fun and having a blast. Yeah. And I thought that was an interesting way to describe it, but I'm like, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And it's still that way.
Yeah.
Air damn day.
Yeah. I would say the same. I mean, when we're around our friends, we've been together for a minute now. 3 years, and our friends are like, God, you guys are so lovey-dovey. It's just ridiculous, and we're real goofy with each other too. But I think you get each other and you're always having fun. I think that's a really good sign,
We went to, this is back in college. We used to tour around, going to churches and singing.
Oh yeah.
All about it.
Oh, I did it too. Yeah. Honey.
I was engaged before my first marriage, and sat with this big old country couple in a hot tub. They had a hot tub outside of their double wide.
Oh,
listen,
man.
I learned all the things about a double wide that night. Their house ain't going to blow away because they've got these big straps over top of it that are dug down into the ground in cement. Because we were in an area where there was a lot of tornadoes. But listen, their asses had a hot tub out there. They were a big woman and a big man, and they loved each other.
Nice.
And it was another one of those moments that sticks in your head with people. And he was talking about her. Listen, neither one of them were a whole lot to look at.
But
they weren't.
Yeah.
However, he started talking about her and he got teary-eyed. They'd been married for 22 years.
Wow, I love
that.
He
got teary-eyed and he said, I still can't believe she's mine.
Ooh.
And we get to do this life together. and they didn't have children. They had each other. And she's listening to him talk and she's getting misty. And I'm sitting there getting misty. And I'm like, I want this.
Yes.
Without all the extra. But I want,
I get it.
Soulmates, that's it. That kind of shit where you're 22 years in. So your friends that think, oh, listen, look at them, adorable. They're 3 years in and they have no idea when they're 10. You said last time when they're 10 years in, they'll open it up. They'll invite somebody else into the boudoir, but no, you get to be 22 years in and be like, I don't know a better person than this. I mean, don't you feel like that now?
I really do. I remember when you first got married, I talked to you when you go back from your honeymoon and you said, I can't believe we get to do this together, this life together. I can't believe we get to do this. And I thought that was so beautiful, but like, it's funny because as soon as you said that, I was like, that's exactly how I feel. I think that when you're with somebody that's your soulmate or a good pairing mixed with deep emotion and love, those are the types of feelings that you feel,
Yes. And I think it can be that way.
It can.
Call me overly romantic. I don't care. I think it can be that way.
Yeah.
But some people might be like, I don't really want that. I just want somebody to raise kids with and work and build an empire or what. You get to do it however you want to do it.
Yeah.
We
have the same goals. It's funny when Ty and I first started dating, his life, he was about a year behind me in the whole process. And when we first started dating, his life was in shambles. He was not doing well. His full-time job was tied to a ministry that was funded by a church. So overnight, he lost all of his sources of income. And he's in this shitty apartment by the highway in Castleton, And I would go over there and I would literally bring him Boston Market and we called them white trash pops from the gas station. And we would sit on his balcony that wasn't even like nice. It was like literally overlooking 465 highway. And it was loud. Yeah. And we would sit there and eat our Boston Market and drink our white trash pops and just laugh our asses off and just enjoy time together. I remember thinking like, it doesn't matter what we're doing. We're sitting on this shitty ass balcony by the highway, drinking a gas station pop. And there's nowhere else I want to be. Like, it's amazing that whatever we're doing, we're having a great time. And I think that's a really good sign,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a great sign. And then it's protecting that because listen, what I've learned about life, and we talked about this, how, people in marriage, a lot of people, I think, who are in bad marriages or in marriages that are complicated, like to say marriage is the most difficult thing you'll ever do, blah, 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 which I think is bullshit. I think life is hard enough. I think the world doesn't care about you. The world's not looking to make your world great. And pain comes for us all. Death comes for us all. Tragedy comes for us all.
Sure.
But inside this relationship, the one that matters most, I get to feel safe. I get to feel loved. I get to feel happy. So there's the two of us. Here we are. And there's all this shit going on around us that's hard and difficult and life-sucking, life-draining, and can cause ruin,
Absolutely.
But this is my safe place. This is good.
Absolutely.
So I don't want this to be the thing that's tragic.
Absolutely. It's so funny you say that. That was the next one on the list. You feel deeply safe and at ease when you're around them. Really important. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The last two are you deeply trust them. Okay. That speaks to that as well. We're on the same page. We're going to preserve this relationship. We're going to tend to it every day. We're going to get hubby his glasses. We're going to do all the things that make us feel connected.
Yeah.
And we trust each other. And then last, I thought was kind of funny. You survived a road trip or significant travel together. I think that's a good one too.
Oh, I read that. The only thing I didn't identify there was that it was like, you guys started fighting because, the windows, we just haven't had that yet.
Yeah.
We don't argue and,
y'all
something will happen sometime.
Yeah.
Well, that's part of what I said with a second big relationship or second marriage, second partnership, where you just kind of don't sweat the small stuff. Like there's a couple times where he's said things that I've noticed it be a little bitey or whatever. But listen, my friend Laura Perry calls it unconditional positive regard.
Love that. Tell us what that is.
I'm going to think the best of you. I'm going to assume the best. I'm not going to put some story or write some story of what's going on in your head for you, because here's what I know about you. Everything up to this point has led me to believe that you are kind, you are patient, you are a good man, you love me, and you treat me well. That's the lens I'm looking through when you're not your best self.
Absolutely.
So I can say, oh, he's having a moment. That's okay. I'll just be over here. You know?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
A couple times he's had those moments. I've had them too. And I've had to go apologize. Listen, I apologize easy. And he's come to me a couple times and said, I'm sorry, I was just being an ass. I'm like, it's okay. Like, moving on. I'm not worried about that.
Absolutely.
No.
Those are some boys that have dealt with their stuff. They're able to apologize easy, come together, look at each other through a positive lens. It's all work you do with the counselor.
Look, I'm not looking for victims. I'm looking for a lover.
I get you.
Right?
Yeah. I don't know how you're ready for your soulmate. I don't know how you receive your soulmate. I don't know how you keep them if you don't have a therapist, or you haven't been to extensive therapy at some point in the process.
Yeah.
I'd be a loony bird without mine. I know that I would have sabotaged what Ty and I have had I not been to a lot of therapy. I'm positive.
Yeah. Well, gay men are self-sabotagers.
Yes, absolutely.
Because they're going to do it before somebody else sabotages them. We've all been sabotaged plenty. And then we show people how.
Yes. Well, that was another statistic I was kind of looking at prepping for the show. It said, there were some studies done in New York City, and it said that there was a sample set of 1,000 people that recently relocated to NYC from different parts of the country, all gay men. And 75% of this group suffered from a mixture, one or all of the above: anxiety and depression, risky sexual behaviors, or drug and alcohol abuse. 75%. And it went on to say that gay men in general nationally are 4 to 10 times more likely to commit suicide. So we as a community have shit to deal with. We're not going to be able to show up for our soulmate, find and keep our gay man if we don't get in therapy. That's a part of this. Here we are talking about self-love and feeling worthy of the relationship. Here I am learning to be more whole on my own so I can show up for my relationship and not be codependent. We're all on some sort of a journey to be more whole. And that is, we have to do that if we want to have successful relationships, gay or straight, but particularly in our community. So that's a mantra we're probably going to say throughout: get a therapist, over
and over. And here's the thing: doing your work is very practical. This is not rocket science. This isn't some thing that's not within our grasp to understand what that means. Get your ass in therapy. Do you know what I mean? And my story is substance abuse. I've been sober from alcohol for 15 years. And I was in AA meetings all the damn time. I had a sponsor. Like, this is boots on the ground work, So I'm a life coach. Hit me up on my website, howtofindandkeepagayman.com. You go there, it'll tell you exactly who I'm talking to. Gay men is who I like talking to. And those are those areas of substance abuse. Yes. Of figuring that shit out, because I get to have a good life, but I also have to figure out what it's going to take me to get there. And I work very hard at keeping my heart and my mind in good space, because if it's not, I can't expect anything outside of myself to take care of that for me. You cannot fix an internal problem with an external solution. You have to go inside. And I'm willing to put that in, because what I've got in my life is so good right now. I'm not fucking that up.
Ayanla says you cannot give what you do not have to give. Give to yourself first. Okay.
Yes.
But I did my work.
Yes.
I live in peace, not pieces.
Yes, that's what it is. That's what it is. Peace, not pieces.
I love me some Ayanla. That show, I just can't get enough of it. It's just so delicious.
Yeah. So I sincerely wish people the best. I just want people to be able to have the life that they want. And there are some people that are not sure how to get there. And it's a call out to people of saying, yes, you can. You actually can.
Yes.
But it's going to take some work. And at some point you realize that there is a cost. And then you just have to figure out whether or not you're willing to pay that cost.
Absolutely. Get in therapy, deal with your stuff so you can see them coming. When you see them coming, what are your non-negotiables? How do you know it's a good pairing? And when you find it, how do you keep it? We're here to help.
Yeah, I got to get ready. Right? I want to be ready when it shows up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. I think we've come to the end.
Yes.
Next week, I'm going to wear sleeves.
Ooh, maybe next week I'll wear a tank top.
Yes, you do.
Should I share my titties next week?
You should definitely show your titties.
Okay.
Listen, I'm just going to say, when you jumped into the gay community, I was like dipping my toe in the water and you were like, cannonball. First time I saw you after you came out, I think your shirt was unbuttoned all the way to your navel.
It probably was.
Shirt.
Look at me with the diamonds in my ear with my DV up in the Greg's Club, honey, dancing. Woo! Living my best life. I've been set free. It's a beautiful time.
Not me. I was hiding in the corner. With my cherry coat, like nobody talked to me. I'd be on my computer all quiet, like I was just scared to death. What's gonna happen? What they gonna do to me? Turned out good things.
Good things. Don't be scared.
All right, I love you.
Been a pleasure. Mwah.
Bye for now.
1, 2, 3, 4.
That's it for us today. For more bitchy wisdom, follow How to Find and Keep a Gay Man on Instagram and TikTok at, you guessed it, How to Find and Keep a Gay Man. And until we meet again, get a therapist, don't be an asshole, protect yourself, call your mom, and remember that you deserve a meaningful love. Bye.